Hello, friends. You are tuned into some intelligent thoughts. My name is Dustin Coyle, and this is the Daily Wager for Monday, May 1st. How's everybody doing today? I'm doing pretty well. It's a pretty sunny morning here in Boise, not too cold. We've actually, unfortunately, had a pretty cold and rainy April after kind of having a nice little end of March there. It kind of sucked. I'm kind of just chilling out, drinking some coffee. Got a few hours off, so I figured you might as well throw down a couple of shows. Alrighty, I'm going to have to go back to Friday to see. It's been a couple of days removed, so I don't actually remember how we did on Friday. Let's go take a peek here. Washington on the road. I laid off of that one. I think I remember that. Well, John Wall, 42 points, man. 19 in the fourth quarter for John Wall. Awesome performance there. There we go. Boston. Celtics never trail. Lead by as many as 30. We won some ducats there, if you were with me on that one. And then, lost money on the Jazz. That son of a bitch. The 98-93 mild upset fucking win for the Clippers in Utah on Friday night. Again, just to come back and have a mild upset win the other direction in Game 7 in Los Angeles yesterday. Great game for Utah. Probably the best game yesterday that Utah could have possibly ever expected. Gobert, I can't remember how many minutes. Let me check how many minutes he had. It was like 12 or something like that. But 1 point. Gobert had 1 point. He played 13 and a half minutes. 1 point, 4 rebounds, took one shot and missed it. Pretty ridiculous that they were able to beat the Clippers really so handily. They win by 13. They hold the Clippers to 91 points without Gobert. A great defensive performance from just about everybody. 26 points for Hayward. Diaw with 10. Ingles 12. Hill and Favors with 17. Hood with 11. Johnson with 10. What's that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 Jazz in double figures there, including the 26 for the main. And for the Clippers, you get just 13 points out of Chris Paul, 9 assists. Great game for DeAndre, 24 and 17. Finally, kind of being able to establish himself in the middle there with Rudy Gobert out with foul trouble. I remember at one point he had 0 points and 4 fouls. Rudy Gobert did. Jamal Crawford with 20 off the bench, obviously not enough. He plays 32 minutes. Actually plays more than Redick, who has just 3 points. Obviously going to be a massive problem there. Austin Rivers plays 38 minutes, scores 9. Really nobody stepping up other than, maybe I'll say Crawford and DeAndre Jordan. DeAndre Jordan with a monster game. 40% free throws, though, 6 for 15. Kind of normal for him. And then yesterday we also had Game 1 of the number 1 versus number 4 seed Eastern Conference. Boston at home taking on the Wiz. Boston wins 123-111. Isaiah has 33 points, 9 assists. Horford 21, 9 boards, 10 assists. 24 for Crowder, 18 for Avery Bradley. Big performance for them. Smart plays 30 minutes, gives him just 6 points. Olynyk with 12 and 17 minutes. That was a pretty good performance there. For the Wiz, John Wall, 20 points, 16 assists. Bradley Beal, 27 points, 4 for 7 from downtown. 16 points from both Gortat and both Otto Porter. Unfortunately, not enough. Bogdanovich again with a 10-point bench performance. I think he's averaging over 10 off the bench. Great pickup there. But really good wins for both Boston and the Jazz. Jazz obviously much more important because now they are in round 2. Taking on the Golden State Warriors, so have fun with that. Alrighty, this leads us into tonight. 2 game ones in the, second round of the playoffs. I'm going to be doing a first round recap of NBA Weekly here in a minute after this show. But as far as right now, in game 1, 5 o'clock p.m. on TNT, we have the number 3 seed Toronto Raptors at the number 2 seed Cleveland Cavaliers. It's a rematch of, I think, last year's conference finals. A rematch of pretty much the 2 best teams over the past, until this year, I would say 2 years in the East. Some things that kind of matter, kind of don't. I'm not really sure. I think the numbers are a little bit overstated. The Raptors are 1-11 all time in game ones of a playoff series. 1-11. You know, I don't think that they're terrible, but obviously there is something that they have trouble overcoming as far. And they've won playoff series too. They've won a few in that time span. Just even recently, they just won one. The Cavs are 15-1 against Eastern playoff teams at home, dating back to 2015. So they've only lost one game at home against any Eastern Conference team in the playoffs over the past, 2 seasons? Yeah, and this year. And it does, there's not a ton. There's some differences here. Different rosters. Cleveland has a different makeup. PJ Tucker, Serge Ibaka are both pretty big additions for Toronto. The Cavs won 4-2 last year, though. It's pretty difficult for me to think that they would win 4 out of 7, though, against the Cavaliers here. And that's kind of even what DeRozan's saying. They're still the champs. Doesn't matter what seed you are once you're in the playoffs. They're defending something they won last year, yada, yada. Give them all the respect in the world. Game 1, they're going to start trying to chip away at it. That's fucking fantastic. DeRozan averaged 23.5 in the 6 games against Milwaukee. 6 tough games against Milwaukee, actually. That series ended Thursday. Toronto actually has this thing is saying they have the best defensive unit in the playoffs so far, holding Milwaukee to a league-low 93.2 per game. That is true, but Milwaukee had by far the worst offense in the playoffs, so it's kind of a... Toronto's got a good defense. They're not bad. They definitely, Ibaka... they have good, they're probably better than the Cavs, and they're probably better than, a few teams. But they're not better defensively, in my opinion, than San Antonio. Maybe not better than Utah. I'd probably take Utah over them as well. Just tougher match. Utah held the Clippers to 91 points. The Clippers are a fucking spectacular team without Rudy Gobert. That's a better defense in my eyes there. But not to bash too much there. LeBron James, first player ever to average 30 points, 9 boards, 9 assists, 3 steals, and 2 blocks in a playoff series. What a fucking stat line. King James seems to be back. They also averaged, Cleveland did, 112.5 points per game against the Pacers. That's a franchise record for a playoff series. Averaged 13.5 threes per game as well. And that's without Korver or Smith playing well. Both of them averaged 5.3 and 6.8, respectively. PJ Tucker is supposed to be defending LeBron James. Good luck with that, sir. There's going to be a lot of three-point shooters lined up around him as well, and plus the ever-dangerous Kyrie. This is going to be ridiculous. I really like Cleveland in this series. Obviously, Cleveland didn't play too spectacularly during the regular. They're pretty well, but not up to their lofty standards, you might say. Obviously, that was not the case in their round 1 sweep of the Pacers, where I'm talking about all these ridiculous stats they just threw in. And Cleveland went 3-1 on the series against them here. All right, already put my bets in. What's the? We'll go checking the lines here right now. Looking at a 6.5 point favorite at home there for the Cavs, a minus 305. I obviously like the Cavs here. I would be pretty damn surprised if the Raptors won this game. I'm surprised that it's only a minus 305, and I expected it to be like an 8-point spread or something like that, like a 370 or something like that, maybe closer to a 400 even here at home in Game 1, especially as good as they looked in their first round against the Pacers. I didn't bet this outright, though. I actually bet this on one of those little double parlays with both of the... so we have one other game in the night. I took both the underdog parlay with this and the favorite parlayed with this. And either way, as long as the Cavs win, I will get a pretty significant return either way that comes back, and end up winning more than I would have bet. It's pretty favorable odds. It actually makes both of them like a 1-to-1. Like if you take the Cavs minus 305 today, I'll just say this right quick, and you take the Spurs It's basically a 1-to-1 odds, and then if you take the Rockets and the Cavs, it's like 1-to-3 odds in your favor. So that's obviously assuming that the Cavs win. The Cavs have to pull this off as well. But that's my prediction here for the first game of the evening, and we'll go to the second game of the evening, 7:30 p.m. Back-to-back TNT as well. Here we have, as I just told you, the Houston Rockets, the number 3 seed at the number 2 seed, San Antonio Spurs. Alrighty. So, we've already played 4 times this season. The Spurs won 3, and Houston wins 1. All of the Spurs wins combined were 10 points total. 3 of the 4 games in the series were decided by 2 points. So realistically, every single game in this series could have went one way or the other. San Antonio won both times in Houston. Houston won once in San Antonio. This game, obviously, in San Antonio, as they have a better record. Houston looked fantastic against Oklahoma City in their first round series. They won in 5 games, kind of just lit them up overall. It wasn't even a fantastic Harden series. He didn't even have like a fantastic series. They just really are deep all the way around him with shooters that can score. I mean, they have a lot of players that can make their own shot. San Antonio had a little bit tougher time. They beat Memphis in Game 6 on Thursday night. They were down by 6 points about halfway through the fourth quarter, actually, and then they came back to win that game. Otherwise, they would have been forced to a Game 7. I kind of predicted that or previewed that. I thought that game or that series might go to 7 games, actually. I'm pretty worried usually about who the second best player on the Spurs is. Luckily, they'll have people step up. They have so many people who can do it for a game or 2 at a time that does happen, and it usually just rotates around to different people. But I'm worried that LaMarcus Aldridge hasn't looked fantastic since coming to San Antonio, or since going to San Antonio. Danny Green, Parker, what more can we get out of these guys? And the young dudes didn't look fantastic against the bigs in Memphis. Houston, not a very big team at all. But, I don't know. Those young guys might not look fantastic in this one either. If you remember, if anybody's been listening to the NBA Weekly for the past few months, I actually have had for a while, I have had Houston ranked higher in my power rankings than San Antonio. I'm not going to pull the trigger here. I think this is going to be a 7-game series, though. I would be surprised if not. Either way. Let's see. Kawhi is a fucking killer. That night against Memphis on Thursday, he had 8 consecutive points in the fourth quarter to put the Spurs into the lead. 29 in the game. He averaged 31 for the whole series. Tony Parker had 27 points. That's kind of what I'm saying against Memphis on Thursday, and that's why they were able to get the win, is he ended up playing like their second best player. I don't know how often you can rely on that happening. That was his 11 for 14 shooting. I mean, that's a great shooting night. But it's got to happen. Almost every game, somebody's going to have to step up with a mid-20s game for him. James Harden has not shot well. 8 for 25 in Game 5 against Oklahoma City. He did have a team-high 34 points, though. 16 for 17 from the line. That's kind of always his bread and butter. He gets to the line. Lou Williams had 22 in that game. Patrick Beverly had 15 and 8. And the bench for Houston outscored Oklahoma City's bench 44-22, doubled them up. And that's something that I wouldn't be too surprised to see happen here again. Let's take a look at the, what's that say there? All right, so spread. What's the Ducats looking at? We got a Spurs minus 5.5. And then the Spurs are minus 240. Houston's a plus 200. I already told you how I went about it. parlayed the Cavs and the